Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Crowded Booth Live. A different host, Ralph. I wasn't there last time, so first off, I didn't even get to watch it. But tell me, how did Tuesday go?
Oh, I thought it went better than I expected. I know, and I say that not in a bad way. Communicating through you, if people didn't know, Bryce was still running the show behind the scenes, so he couldn't hear anything. We were texting him, "What is going on? We need you to do next scene, run the ad, end it." And when he texted him, we were ready to end it, and we were expecting him to be kind of delayed. And next thing you know, he ended it about 2 seconds later. So it went a lot better than expected. It was kind of fun though, because trying to text your producer basically behind stage. So it was good.
Yeah, well, that person is broadcasting a baseball game and trying to keep up. And I was trying to catch on the half innings, but nonetheless, it turned out pretty well. Well, listen, we welcome everyone to the show. It's just the two of us here today. At some point, we're going to get all three of us back here in the crowded booth. Eventually, we will. But yeah, so Ralph, first off, you had Tuesday. It's been a good week. But obviously, as everyone knows who tunes into the show every single week, knows that we usually like to start this thing off with a question of the day. So here we go. The best ice cream flavor. I want you to tell me, and it can be a brand. Like you could go Bluebell vanilla or Ben and Jerry's cookies and cream, stuff like that.
Bluebell vanilla, it might be the best brand ice cream you can buy.
Bluebell in general.
Just Bluebell in general, but the vanilla it's just so easy. It's the best to me. Mm-hmm. But I have to go. I kind of got two, honestly.
Okay, go ahead.
Homemade peach ice cream, by far.
Go ahead and shout her out because we know whose homemade peach ice cream you're talking about.
My grandmother's. She has the best homemade peach ice cream. It's been a while since we've had it, but it's still.
That's a message for you, Patsy. That's a message for you.
No, it's not. Don't even have to make it for me. I probably go chocolate chip cookie dough. Is my second.
Chocolate chip cookie dough. Okay, so we have already a comment in here. We have your uncle Richard. There goes with Oreo. First off, Richard, I am very disappointed that we didn't get your video prior to the show. We'll have to put that on next Tuesday, or on the social media and the social media aspect. Oreo cookies and cream for me. I'm with Richard. Fantastic flavor. Ralph, I want to shout out my guy who I picked up some ice cream. So what's it? Can I get his full name? Do you have his full name?
I don't have his full name. His name is Gabe.
Gabe was posted out in front of Ralph's neighborhood selling ice cream out of a cooler, homemade. He had cookies and cream in there, and they were big chunks. And so shout out to Gabe. Fantastic ice cream. It was like a pint is $5, and it was the best $5 I've ever spent. And I did Venmo Ralph because I didn't have any cash. So, I did do that. But store-bought Ralph, I'm going to have to go Bluebell. Bluebell vanilla for me is fantastic. I am personally a big chocolate chip cookie dough guy. And then I also dabble. This one is a shout-out to I know someone who very enjoys this ice cream, mint chocolate chip. Fantastic ice cream. If you don't want to brush your teeth, go ahead and knock that out in the morning.
Just take some toothpaste, put some chocolate chips in it, and that's the same thing. Basically.
You're good. You're good. Crest. That's the next question for next week. Are you Crest or what toothpaste brand do you go with? I don't know. I can't think of any other ones. So good ice cream flavors. Homemade ice cream is 10 times better, in my opinion. Would you agree?
Everything homemade is always better. We know this.
Would a Chick-fil-A sandwich or a homemade Chick-fil-A sandwich be better? Homemade chicken sandwich or Chick-fil-A's chicken sandwich?
I have a homemade.
You're going to go with a homemade sandwich.
Yeah, because I can put whatever I want on it. I can make it spicy if I want to. I don't have to make it spicy. Yeah,
but you have that option, Chick-fil-A. But ice cream, Ralph. Now, are you more in? Now, one thing I've learned. I date a person who is very much of a sweet tooth. I myself, Ralph knows this about me. It's the sweets, the sweets that are going to get me. So, it's much cheaper to buy ice cream from the store than it is to go out and get ice cream. Like, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a massive fan of Brewster's. I'll throw that out there. Brewster's is not like something I've got to have. But dessert-wise, ice cream flavor, what is one ice cream flavor that you can't stand?
You already said mint chocolate chip. Can't stand it. It's gross.
Butter pecan. You ever had butter?
I like butter pecan.
Okay, see, I'm not a big butter pecan ice cream guy. It's not. I don't know. It's just not something that I love and enjoy. But
also, Rocky Road. I was never understood why people like that.
I just heard your mom get very upset about that.
No.
Yeah. That's does Rocky Road, is that the one that has?
It's like chocolate vanilla,
like a swirl, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, no, she got mad at me. We do have a little bit of a delay here. Butter pecan is the best from Les Leary. I'm not a butter pecan person. It's okay though. It's okay.
Might get out of the house.
Yeah, I might have to. Yeah, that's not good. We won't have any internet to do the show. So, but anyways, I think the topics we're going to be talking about tonight, we got a guest coming on the show a little bit later on. But Ralph, kind of the big topic we're going to start this segment is let the boys play. Yermin versus LaRussa and the Twins. So what we're going to do, how we're going to talk about this is we are going to talk about, kind of set the scene. So earlier this week, the White Sox were blasting the Twins. I mean, it was very, very bad. It was a lopsided game. The Twins put in a position player in Williams Astudillo, if I say his name correctly, better known as La Tortuga. Mm-hmm. They put him in the ball game to pitch, position player pitching. So essentially, the team, you're kind of waving a white flag. You got to save the rest of your bullpen. It's way out of reach. Yermin Mercedes, I don't want to set the scene because with a little bit of my history, again, kind of working in the White Sox farm system for a short time, Mercedes is a guy who is an older guy, but he's a rookie. And from what I understand, he just can flat out hit. And we're seeing it now at the major league level, but everywhere he's been, he's a good character, good guy in the clubhouse to have. But kind of what's been the issue is what happened, and we're going to set the scene. 3-0 pitch against a position player in a blowout. Mercedes hits, and he doesn't just hit it it's not a wall scraper. I mean, this one was blasted. I think it was like a 64-mile-per-hour pitch, 40-something miles an hour.
It was a
47?
Ephus. That's what they call
it. Yeah. It might have been a fastball. We're not really sure. But anyways, so we're going to bring it in here. Now, here's the video right here, Ralph. So let's let viewers watch this one. We're going to this is, 3-0 count. You see their top 15-4 is the score, 2 gone. And so we're going to let this play. 9. Top 9. So we're going to let this play. So you can see right there Astudillo, and I have the audio off for a reason because, we don't need the call. But Astudillo doesn't look too happy. It's 16-4. And so, yeah, I mean, so Ralph, let's hit back with this because this is something for me that we're going to bring it in closer on ourselves too. So you see the home run right there. Okay, so obviously Yermin Mercedes absolutely, crushes it. I mean, it's 400 and it's over 400 feet. So now the manager of the Chicago White Sox, longtime Hall of Fame style of manager in Tony LaRussa, fans who are maybe not more familiar, obviously led the Cardinals for so many of their runs through the postseason. So this was Tony LaRussa's response and we need to get this back here, but this was Tony LaRussa's response. And so, Ralph, were you in favor of the home run before I play this? Is this something that you were like, it's okay, and then we're going to play the clip?
I see nothing wrong with it. I think I see it as a guy who is at the bat. He's still playing baseball. It's not, you play till the game's over with. It's like with football. You play till the whistle's done. You play till that game's over with. You don't, he's playing hard. He's trying to help his team win. Obviously, they're up 15-4, but you never know. I mean, obviously it wasn't going to happen, but the Twins could have made a comeback. Who knows? But obviously that's so far to reach. They're throwing a position player out there. It didn't bother me. I didn't think it was a big deal, honestly, at first. Yeah, and I think the big thing too is what you're going to see here is what a lot of people are having a problem with. We're going to talk about it after the clip. So let's go ahead and play this. And Ralph, you tell me if the audio is there. But we're going to go. This is Tony LaRussa talking post game about Yermin Mercedes home run in a football type of score, by the way. that was an absolute domination. So here we go.
Just about the time the guys told me to pitch, I took several steps from the dugout onto the field yelling, take, take, take. because just the way he was set up, it looked to me like he was going to swing. And the whole time he's around the bases, I'm out there and I was upset because that's not a time to swing 3-0. And as you know, I happened to look over there, and I know the Twins knew that I was upset. Joe had given the take sign. I just think Yermin was locked into he and Estudillo. They know each other from different competitions, and he was locked in. And really, he just I gotta get him. But he missed a 3-0 hit sign with that kind of lead. That's just it's not over. That's just sportsmanship, respect for the game, respect for your opponent.
So Tony LaRussa said what he says. Obviously, that was about a 2.5-minute clip. We just played a little excerpt of it, but kind of painting the whole picture. Now let's go to the following day after this happened. So this happened the next day, Ralph. The Twins throw and hit Yermin Mercedes, and remind me of the young man's name that hit Mercedes.
Tyler Duffy.
So Tyler Duffy.
He didn't hit him. He threw it behind him.
Threw it behind him.
Yeah.
So he throws behind Yermin Mercedes. After that game, Tony LaRussa comes out and says he completely understands and all that. Players come out in defense of Yermin Mercedes. Now, one thing about Mercedes, he does not speak perfect English, so he has to use a translator, which is completely fine. That's not the situation we're talking about. But Lance Lynn, one of the leaders of the Chicago team, one of the best pitchers right now in all of baseball, has been fantastic this season. Mm-hmm. Comes out and talks about how if you don't want that to happen, don't put in a position player to pitch.
Agreed.
And so this kind of sets the whole scene of where I think my problem lies with the fact you have two issues here. Will Manis, our other co-host on the show, he talked about this on Twitter a little bit. There's one issue with Tony LaRussa managing this ball club. I think that a lot of people have in the direction Chicago went. But then the other issue is this unwritten rule. And so we've seen this, Ralph. We talked about this. This is our second segment of Let the Boys Play. Yeah. You kind of went to it, and so I want to lay this up to you again. When you have your own manager that is backing up other players, and I'll remind you in saying, Tony LaRussa said, he has a locker, I have an office, he can come talk to me. You go to the media with that. I mean, I think that kind of creates division in what is one of the better ball clubs right now in Major League Baseball.
Not even just a better ball club. You got some young guys in there. You got Tim Anderson, who's still really young, and he's the leader on the team. They're going to stand up for their teammate. It's always teammates over coaches. You agree with your coach sometimes, but you're going to back your teammates up. And I think LaRussa took it a little too far when he and this is what he quoted. It was a big mistake, and he called Yermin Mercedes just clueless for not being aware of baseball's unwritten rules. I think you take it too far by calling him clueless. He's playing Major League Baseball at a very high level right now. I don't think he'd be considered clueless. But you get a guy who's older who played for a little bit and coached for a very long time during those days of this would have never happened back then. You wouldn't have position players pitch back then in the first place. And I think I said this on Tuesday, and we talked about this a little bit before all this kind of got out of hand more than it did now. When Anthony Rizzo pitched against Freddie, he struck him out. It was funny. Everyone had a good laugh. Mercedes doesn't want to go down striking out against one of his friends. I think they have a very close relationship. You don't want to strike out. You want to go out there and make a hit or have some fun. And I think he hits a 430-foot home run off his friend. I mean, I'm holding that over his head for the next few years. I think it's fun. It's baseball. There's 162 games in the season for a reason. This one game is not going to consider him a horrible person. I bet the Twins looked at this like, okay, we'll throw you next game, and it's over. No one cares.
Yeah. Well,
that's just how it is.
And we've had this conversation. I actually had this conversation. We talked about Ronald Acuna getting hit a week and a half, almost 2 weeks ago at this point. The thing for me is when you throw at a player, this old adage of let's throw at people because they've broken unwritten rules. I mean, Mercedes is a guy who is an older rookie. He's 28 years old. He's not your typical rookie. He's not, Ralph, going to hit, and when you get into making his hit arbitration or free agency for a while until he's at least 33, 34 years old. What does that mean? Mm-hmm. He's not going to have the same opportunity to make that big contract that a lot of the guys have. So every opportunity he can to show off his ability, he's got to. And so I think in this situation, don't swing at a 3-0 pitch. These type of situations that we're seeing in baseball nowadays, to me, it's just silly. I mean, Yermin Mercedes, like you said, he's one of the most exciting, and I use the word silly, and that sounds kind of weird, but it's kind of childish in my opinion. When you have these rules, and we talked about this before, in a sport like baseball that really struggles to market to younger kids, you make it more of this suit and tie type of thing, whereas we're seeing other sports, NBA, NFL, whether you liked it or not, the NFL implemented in the first round of the playoffs, like Nickelodeon, like they're catering to these younger kids. Baseball, you get mad when a guy hits a 470-foot home run and his nickname is the Yerminator or Yerm the Germ. I mean, it's just stuff like that. It's stuff like that I think hurts the game. And so pivoting away from that, Tony La Russa's comments, I think what makes it interesting, Ralph, is that, like you said, there's players, like we talked about, there's players that are sticking up for him in the clubhouse, and then La Russa comes out and says that. And so all this is happening. Meanwhile, Chicago's in first place in the AL Central. Like you said, they have one of the more exciting teams. They have a great mix of veteran players and like a guy like they have the last year's MVP of the AL and Jose Abreu, Tim Anderson, who's a fantastic player, and then young players. I mean, Madrigal. And they're doing all this without Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez, which for some people think he passed away. It's very weird how the social media, and for people who don't get that, just go Google it. It's a
look at White Sox tweet about Eloy. That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. So kind of going back into this, Ralph, I think what's really interesting, baseball, we grew up playing it. It's a fun game. Let's have fun. Let's do that. We have a lot of Braves fans. We're going to talk about the Braves here upcoming later on the show. Peter Moreland on the postgame show. I know you didn't see it because you were asleep getting ready for work, but Peter Moreland said, let's let loose a little bit. Let's let baseball be fun. This is a kid's game that these guys are getting to play. And so would you not agree, Ralph? Let's let these guys have fun. Perfect example. Ronald Acuna hits a walk-off home run. Never once does he look towards the Mets. He looks towards his dugout, celebrates with his guys. And let's do that. If you don't want that to happen, if that offends you, strike him out.
Yeah, well, see, I think my favorite thing about Acuna when he does that kind of thing, he's not like that. He doesn't look toward the other dugout. He's not pointing to other players. Now, if you make him mad, you hit him a few times during the season, he goes up and hits one off of you, he's gonna let you know. Now, it's not like I'm throwing a bat at you. I'm not going to be cussing you out or anything. He's going to look at you. He's going to walk. He's going to jog the first. He's going to flip the bat to his teammates, and he's going to pump them up. That's just how he is. He's an exciting baseball player. And one thing about getting these younger kids to watch baseball is watch Shohei Ohtani. He's having the most fun in his career right now. I mean, he's leading the league in home runs. He's a 2.01 ERA right now. I mean, the guy is enjoying baseball. He's having fun. He's leading the team right now because they're without Trout. So you got to step up in times like that. You got younger guys. Ohtani is one of the most exciting guys in baseball. I mean, to me, he might be one of the most exciting guys to watch of all time because of what he's able to do and how great he's able to do from both sides, or from one side of the plate and on the mound. So, you get these older guys in baseball like La Russa. I mean, I know La Russa was a weird hire. A lot of people don't believe it. A lot of people don't like it, and they still don't like it. They really don't like it now. So, the big thing to me this day and age is, even in NBA especially, is hiring guys who are just coming out of the league. Just retired. Jason Kidd, Dave Roberts, guys like that, and David Ross. Guys like those who have been playing kind of with these guys today, but also played the guys back then. So they know both sides of baseball. So they're not going to sit there and complain about these kind of things. Tony La Russa hadn't coached in a while. So this kind of brings it down where he has to, you got to meet him somewhere. Because he's not going to get to you on your level. You got to meet him halfway.
Well, I think we're going to talk about this a little bit later on, but you pointed out David Ross is perfect. He was a part of the 2016 World Series team for the Cubs, and he comes back and manages those same guys. I mean, the guys he was teammates with, Rizzo, Bryant, Baez, Contreras, all these guys, Hayward, he was there essentially Chapman. But their leader in the clubhouse already is a catcher and a veteran presence, and now he's the manager. And two, we're going to talk about a little bit later. I don't want to spoil it, Ralph. But I think that's what makes Brian Snitker such a good players manager, is because he's been around these guys. He was with the team for so long. He managed and helped coach a lot of these guys at the AAA level in Gwinnett, and now he's with them there. But I think it's a big thing, Ralph. But listen, we've got a special guest coming on soon. We're going to talk about the Braves and a little bit more as well when we come back. And I think it's going to be safe to say, Ralph, it's going to be pretty fun to talk to our special guest, and also it's been quite interesting, some of the comments on the Braves, and we're going to address those later on in the show.
Cook's Place began serving our signature hot dogs in 1985 from a cart on Broadway. We still serve the best hot dogs and scrambled dogs in town at the corner of Moon and Miller Road and at the landings. Our friendly staff won't let you leave hungry. Come in and eat to the beat with our 50s jukebox. Cook's Place, fast service, great people, awesome food. What are you waiting for?
If you are interested in advertising your business on our show, we encourage you to email us at thecrowdedbooth@gmail.com or stop by Ralph's house. He lives – no, I'm just kidding. Ralph, I don't know your address that well, but
good. Don't ever know it.
It's good. But Ralph, why should a local business – I'm going to put you on the spot here. Why should a local business or your brand of Hey Dudes, why should they put their ad here on our show?
Why not? I mean, you got guys talking about sports at all times, and people are going to watch. And we've had some random people on YouTube show up occasionally and like to try to get us angry occasionally. But they're watching; they'll see our ads, and they're like, "Oh, maybe I should try that when I'm in Columbus." So
I've actually had a couple people tell me, in with Cook's Hot Dogs and everything, Cook's Place, that they have they want to try some out of town people, some good friends of mine as well, and also. We're local people. We represent the city of Columbus, so it's a ton of fun as well. Well, Ralph, I'm going to set the scene as our guest gets ready to come in and talk. But first off, it's another edition of Around the Valley talking about Columbus State. And I'll tell you one thing. People in this area, I don't know if they know necessarily how good Columbus State is at athletics. Right now, Columbus State's men's tennis team is about to play for the national championship. But the baseball team, we're going to have a special guest come on, Ralph. They got themselves to a Peach Belt title. They're going to be playing once again. And kind of going back, I guess, till when I came back to Columbus from Rome, obviously they had their World Series run that they made it to the championship game. But, Ralph, when you think of Columbus State and obviously their baseball pedigree, I mean, it's a pretty good, beautiful ballpark as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you want to think about CSU baseball, just think of pure dominance. Just the past few years, it has been really great. Really good team, honestly. You got some great guys coming in. And they lead this team, and we'll hear from one in just a minute, obviously. But some of these guys have been playing with each other for a while. They played with each other in high school and against each other in high school because you get local kids, and that's what makes this team really special. You got all these local guys from Columbus who you probably either watched play the Little League as a kid, played with them as Little League, went to high school with them, played against them in high school, played with them in high school, and now you're playing with them in college, or you see them playing college baseball, and it's just that's exciting, especially with like how great they really are this year. And, after last year having a solid start to the last year's season and then COVID ending it so early, and just it's so defeating how awesome they were last year. And honestly, I just think they got better. So, we'll hear from our guest in just a minute about that.
Yeah, and one thing I'll touch on as he's getting ready to come in the show was, this was a weird season. You had a larger roster. The young man we're going to speak to was kind of the one of those guys that elected to take that extra year and continue his dream of playing college baseball. But I think the biggest thing is they went into the Peach Belt Conference tournament, Ralph, and they weren't necessarily the favorite to win it all. They had a 3-game series against UNC Pembroke up in North Carolina. They swept that. And then, Ralph, we're reading this correctly, okay? They outscored the University of North Georgia Nighthawks, okay?
Yep.
Almost up in Dahlonega. They outscored them 40-9 in 2 games.
Yep.
When you dominate a team in a championship game like that, I mean, I think it proves that you continue to move on. Ralph, have you ever seen at any level? I mean, let's be serious. In a playoff type of atmosphere, postseason type of atmosphere, you ever seen a team just flat out dominate from start to finish like that?
Not personally. No, I mean, I've seen my high school beat a team that was just not really into baseball badly. That's about all I can say.
I think it's just impressive when you get in the postseason atmosphere. It's best on best, and you get to play on that. Now, kind of looking ahead to what Columbus State has to be playing in front of them on May 27th, next Thursday. In fact, the NCAA Southeast Regional will kick off. Columbus State will be representing, getting that automatic bid from the Peach Belt Conference, which, Ralph, too, that's a very talented group. We talked about North Georgia. We talked about UNC Pembroke, West Georgia as well. I mean, it's not an easy conference to come out of, and I think that's what has made CSU look so impressive.
Right. You just got a lot of guys who played last year who decided to come back. That's what really helps out this team. And I think, some guys, especially new guys who really who stepped up. And one I think is a personal friend. I grew up with him. I played with him growing up. Was Jalen Lotta. I mean, he is from growing up playing Little League with him. He was a really good pitcher, obviously a great lefty. And I didn't realize how great he got during high school. And now at CSU, he's just been dominating. He's their ace every year now, I feel like, and he's just been unreal, honestly.
Yeah, he's been unreal, and I think too, just from the talent gap. I mean, you see some of these guys in Ralph. We've talked about this with a couple of the local partners, but they also pull from out of state, from up in the Atlanta area. And I mean, doesn't it make it easier, Ralph, when you have a state? And let's just talk about this real quick as Russell gets ready to come on with us. How good high school baseball is in this state. I mean, even with top premier programs such as Georgia Tech, who are going to be in consideration for a postseason berth, but even when you make your way down to Division II and even some Division III levels, there's some very good high school baseball that is played here in the state of Georgia.
Well, it's guys who don't get to go Division I, and it's guys who if you think about how many high schools are in Georgia, and actually play baseball, you have a lot of high schools in Georgia that play football, but not a lot of schools have football. So most high schools do have baseball, and you have a lot of players in those teams that don't go Division I. They'll go to JUCO level first, and then they don't have a good JUCO year, so they go D2. And D2 is a solid place to be playing baseball if you're in Georgia. You have a lot of great schools, honestly, here in CSU, UNG. Like you've already said, UNG and West Georgia are all great teams. So anywhere you end up in Georgia in baseball, you're going to end up at a great school, I feel like.
You're going to end up a great school. And the man that is on with us right now, Mr. Russell, how are you doing, sir? First off, you come off a Peach Belt title win. I'm hoping that he can hear us. It's a little bit fuzzy. Russell, can you hear us from your end?
Yes, I can.
Oh, fantastic! We're going to see if we can make this work. It doesn't work too often when we do these things. We'll have to see if it works. Can you still hear us? Oh, I don't think he can. Man, Ralph, we can't ever catch a break with this.
It's always something.
It's always something. Well, listen, we're going to see if we can get him back on at some point. We'll see. But, Ralph, let's go ahead and pivot to another thing real quick right here, because obviously a big thing about this is college baseball is seeing kind of an emergence because of teams. Last year, we didn't have a full draft at Major League level. So the height of college baseball has seen it's been very impressive. I mean, I think that's the thing to say. It's been very good. The talent level is there. You had a lot of guys, Ralph, that maybe would have came out in last year's draft. But since there were only 5 rounds, there's a big talent pool to pick from. And 2, I think when you look at Columbus State, I mean, that we've seen some guys in recent past go play at the next level. Columbus State has a young man playing in a Braves farm system. They have got some fantastic players that are playing all across the country. So, would you say that you've seen just an increase in interest in college baseball this year, maybe than prior years because of the talent level?
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially with social media and how, we've always talked about how social media really hypes up recruiting. I feel like that really helps baseball now. Football, obviously, you can have your huddle highlights and you have showcases and stuff. And, college baseball showcases or high school showcases, weren't really big when we were growing up. If I'm mistaken, I think I might be, but you don't have a lot of these guys going to these showcases back then. But now they're huge. They're everywhere. Perfect Game is a great example. They do a great job getting people their names out. I feel like with how college baseball really has turned out this year, you got a lot of young guys who are talented. Arkansas is one of them. They're a very great team. It's just on every side, every part of the field. They're just someone who's just either going to be a future pro or he can play pro right now. It's crazy how even look at Vanderbilt. Look at their 2 starters. I mean, those guys can go out there and pitch for the Braves right now and be aces probably. But, it's crazy how talented people are these days and how fast they get and how fast they grow in their sport these days. I mean, baseball development is huge in baseball. If you can't develop properly, you're probably not going to make it. So, sorry.
No, yeah, you have to be able to develop. We're going to bring Russell back in. Russell, can you hear us now?
Yes.
Fantastic. Russell, you're the first guest we've been able to get on without any internet troubles, so we appreciate you taking the time. First off, man, you talked to us at the beginning of the season, and you told us what it meant to you to come back, how much fun of a team this was going to be, man. Was there ever a point where you think, hey, we're going to be, holding this trophy up once again, or was there a little bit of doubt throughout the season?
In the beginning of the season, I definitely thought before the season started, I thought it was for sure we were going to be at the end of the season playing for a championship. Had a few bumps and bruises on the way to the conference championship game. Needless to say, but I think this team's really grown as a group. We've really kind of had a lot of adversity towards like the middle of the season, and we really had to come to realization that we can't just show up to the field and beat everyone without just really focusing too much. So we had to have a change of approach, change of mindset. But that ended up working out, obviously.
Yeah, and Ralph was talking about how talented of a conference this is from top to bottom. I mean, this is a really tough group to make it out of. You guys are going to advance onto the Southeast Regional. And what is the kind of the attitude of the team? Like you said, I mean, this is a talented group, but you kind of figured out we can't go in there with just our talent and beat anybody. Now you know that you're going to be playing against the best of the best. A lot of these guys have been in this position before, with a couple of years ago. I mean, what would you say kind of the temperature of the room with this squad?
I think we're rolling in full steam ahead, really. We're playing our best baseball towards the end of the season, which you want to be doing, obviously. We tend to score a lot more runs than usual, as you guys probably saw the box score. But like you said, in Southeast Regional, we have 7 guys that did it in 2018 that are on the same team. So we kind of been there before, really kind of figured out the way to the Southeast Regional, and it's going to be the best baseball probably in the country. Heck, last time we were here, we were saying this was harder than the World Series, so pretty tough.
Yeah, it does mean well. And we'll ask you one more question before we get you out of here. 40 runs, 25, and then 15 scored in the championship series. Have you ever been a part of a team that's just dominated like that in fashion? And I'll say even in a postseason sense, because sometimes there's some lesser opponents. But this is a team in UNG that came in very highly touted, and you guys really just – I mean, the bats were working. That's the safe thing to say to keep UNG happy, and you guys too.
Yes, UNG is a very good team. They've been a conference rival for us ever since I've been in college, and it was quite a experience to be in a 25-run game. The most runs I've ever been a part of before that was actually this year. Was Georgia Southwestern beat them 23-4 in a rubber match game. So, yeah, this team's very explosive. And when we get rolling, it's pretty dangerous to see top to bottom.
Well, when will you
for more questions if y'all want?
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. Yeah. Well, I'll ask you this, and I don't know if the Ralph had these questions. When will you know your opponent, I guess, for that Southeast Regional? When is that unveiled, and has that already been unveiled?
This Sunday is a selection show. We kind of already have an idea who we're going to play. Just from, like, inside information, but a good idea of, like, seeding, because we were kind of on the line there of at-large or possibly not, but we won the conference tournament, so that kind of just forced our way in. It's looking like we possibly could play Catawba. It all depends. That's what we've kind of heard. They're a really good team. We played them last year in Tampa, Florida, and they're a very good program, which all 6 of the teams are going to be very good. So regardless of who you face, you're going to see a really good arm first game, and there's going to be a lot of offense probably. Hot summer days in South Carolina, it's going to start flying. So.
And for Columbus State, offense will not be a stranger. Obviously, the World Series this year is at the USA Baseball Complex in Cary, North Carolina. Have you ever been a part of and played there before? Is that something that's typically there? Because I know that's a pretty unique place to play.
It's always there for Division II. So when we went to the World Series in 2018, that's where we went. Unfortunately, we came in second, but it's a great experience. Like I said, to the younger guys, since 7 of us have already experienced this before. It's probably the best baseball you're going to see in their lifetime, at least, because not everyone gets a chance to go play pro ball. So this will be the best talent that they face against each other. So, but a lot of these guys, they grew up facing top level competition, travel ball, like I heard y'all talking about before I got on here. In showcases, travel ball, you feel the pressure of this. Now, obviously, it's a college setting, so it means a little bit more. But it's not really a lack of, like, facing talent throughout your life. You face good players your whole life. It's really just whoever's hot at the right time. Any team can win it. So,
yeah, I think any team can win it. It's definitely going to be interesting. I think, Ralph, you had a question about what we were talking about earlier, because Russell is a pitcher, so this kind of works in kind of what we were talking about earlier in the show.
Well, Russell, I've kind of heard your stance on this already a little bit through our group message we have. But this Yermin Mercedes Tony LaRussa situation. It's a 3-0 count, and Yermin hits a massive bomb on this guy, a 47-mile pitch. Well, I want to hear what you have to say about that. Is that against the baseball rules? Is that the unwritten rule thing, or are you okay with it? Because it's just baseball.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Keep swinging for the fence. See, you guys probably already knew what I was going to say, but I mean, first of all, it's super impressive you can hit a 47-mile pitch 405 feet. I don't know many people that can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't understand. So I know back when we're growing up, I can see where that steps on some toes of like old style baseball. But the way I look at it is, for an example, when we were facing UNG, we were up 17 runs at one point. We weren't going to stop playing our original game because we still have to work on things. And plus, I thought it was kind of disrespectful to our opponent if we just start running into outs and kind of treating them like they just aren't even a threat anymore. I thought that's my mindset behind it. Why change the way we play based on the score of the game? Because growing up, they always told us, hey, don't play the score, don't play down to your opponent. Then why not just keep playing the same game? Now, I understand that like bunting up 16 or like stealing bases and stuff like that. I get that. That's a little bit more feel. But I don't understand this stance of a 3-0 count. It's still baseball. I don't care if there's a position player up there. What do they want us to do? Start putting pitchers in the hit against position players? I mean, that would be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Where like later in the game, there's like a mercy, but the second half of the game, it's like they select who they want to see base. That was sick. That would be so cool.
How bad did you want an at bat this weekend? Did that ever cross your mind? Did any pitchers get an at bat this weekend?
No, at CSU, we're not a advocate for letting pitchers hit. I've had that dream's long gone. But yeah, definitely it crossed my mind. I was like, you know what? I mean, heck, let me get it. I mean, the bats are hot. I mean, you gotta let at least someone else get the glory.
Maybe.
But no, that's not a thing we do at Columbus State. We play our game no matter what.
Well, hopefully good luck to y'all the rest of the way. I mean, this is going to be an exciting journey, obviously a talented team. And I'll ask you this too as we close out. You kind of talked about how you guys were on that line, maybe kind of in a bubble team per se of where you would get that at-large bid. Since you did win, you get the automatic invite. Does that kind of push a UNG or maybe another team up and they will kind of take a spot that you could potentially see again in the Southeast Regional?
More than likely, it'll be UNC Pembroke that makes it from our conference as at-large, just because they were regular season conference champs. They were a top 25 team all year. I mean, it would be kind of confusing if they didn't make it. I don't think North Georgia's making it anymore, unfortunately. But I mean, like I said, if you're in the tournament, you have a chance. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. And plus, there's only 6 teams. So, the top 6 teams in the Southeast region is pretty good. I mean, that's as good as it gets. I mean, we're in 2018. We were a 4 seed, and we ended up winning the whole thing. So, and we had to beat the number 1 seed twice. So, it's if you get hot at the right time, you can see some exciting stuff.
Yeah. Well, I can tell by the smile on your face and just from hearing you guys talk, and then obviously with the amount of runs you guys put up last time out, it's you're peaking at the right time. Like I said, that's the kind of baseball we want to play. Russell, we appreciate you coming on the show, talking about it. And who knows, maybe in some form or fashion, maybe it's somehow you'll get an at-bat. Hopefully injuries don't force that, but maybe somewhere down the line you can get an at-bat somewhere. Do you at least take BP? Do you ever get a BP opportunity? Is there a pitcher's BP day ever?
No. Wow.
So Coach Appleton told us that the only time we'll get BP is a no-hitter.
Okay. So
That's
you just
the deal.
need to
And I don't know if you've seen the score of our team games. It hasn't been close. We haven't gotten close.
Yeah, no, you haven't gotten close
really
to that.
Sniffed at bat, but no.
Well, listen, Russell, we appreciate you coming on. You enjoy the rest of your night, and best of luck to you and the Cougars for the rest of the way.
See you later, boys. Thanks for having me on.
See you, man.
We appreciate he's always a fantastic guest, and I think it's kind of cool too, Ralph. We had him on at the beginning of the year. He talked about what a special season they would be having, and then kind of now together as well. They're putting together a special season. Well, let's head up the highway. Ralph and I are going to be heading up the highway tomorrow evening. In fact, 100% capacity, that is, for the first time you and I get to experience that. The Braves have a very pivotal road ahead of them, Ralph. And I want to read this off to you because they just salvaged a potential, what could have been a potential sweep against the New York Mets. So I'm going to read this to you, Ralph, and then I'm going to ask you a question. So in my opinion, we find out who the Braves are over the next 3 weeks. You play the slumping Pirates for 4 games. Pirates, one of the 3 worst teams in Major League Baseball. You go to Boston, who has one of the best records in all of baseball, leads the AL East. You go to New York, your division leader right now. You come back home and play the Nationals. The Nationals are last, but like we know, Ralph, they're still a very talented team. Then you're going to play the Dodgers at home, and then you go on the road to the Phillies. If you can come out of that with a winning record or close to 500, to me, you're back on track. But on the flip side, if they continue to struggle and all these things, you could realistically be 7 to 8 games out of first place by mid-June. So for you, is this – we've talked about panic time. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But to me, this is a pivotal road. We're really going to learn what this team was made of, and I think that they potentially kickstarted themselves last night, which was, to me, a must-win game. You really needed to win that one.
Well, yeah, avoiding the sweep is always a must-win game, I feel like. And I think Snicker said it best. This was a huge moment for the team. You know, Acuna with a walk-off home run. If you didn't see it, it was a, no-doubter. He knew it off the bat. I think he said it best. And once I knew it was gone, it was over. And he used and someone said, use the Vince Carter snip or the gif for Vince Carter saying it's over. And that just fires the team up. I think everyone kind of looked and watched the replay of the home run when everyone celebrating home plate the whole team was excited. And I think that kind of sparks the team when they, you're still at home for the rest of the weekend, then you go on the road. You get 4 more days at home, you get 4 more games in front of your crowd, you get 100% capacity this weekend. It's going to be wild, I feel like. I know tonight's a Thursday night game, so may not be a big crowd, but tomorrow night and Saturday night, expect it to be loud in Truist Park. And especially if they get the bats going. And I'm hoping the bats get going tomorrow night because when we were there a few weeks ago, it was kind of quiet till the very last 2 innings. So this is huge for Atlanta. And like you said, it's pivotal. And we talked about this Tuesday. We asked, what's the record coming out of this weekend? Will said that you take 2 for the Mets. I say you take 1 for the Mets. I think you win game 3, and then you sweep the Pirates at home. I think it's very, very doable. Hopefully it's doable. I mean, they're down 2-0 right now. I know, but guys, it's the first inning. It's going to be okay. If you can come out after winning a walk-off home run last night in a late game, you come in the next day and you're ready to go ahead and play baseball for me, please. Because it is not easy to go and play now they've played since last Friday. They've played 6 straight days.
Against some good competition.
Against great competition, good pitching. And you're telling me you're not going to be tired? I mean, last Thursday was a travel day, so you didn't get a rest day.
Yeah. So
you got to think these guys they're tired. And you're probably thinking you can't be tired. You're a professional athlete. Well, sorry, I didn't think everyone was just so perfectly perky every single day at work.
Yeah.
So
and I think too, Ralph, to follow what you were saying real quick is a lot of people expect 4 players, and this kind of feeds into situations we've seen from Atlanta. And Chipper Jones, one of the best to ever do it, said this in an interview recently. People and fans view these guys as just kind of robots, and all they do is play baseball. There's a lot of other stuff on their mind, and there's a ton of stuff going on. Especially the biggest one for me has been Freddie Freeman. I mean, like we've talked about, kind of all season long so far, Freddie Freeman has not looked like the same. I'm going to tell you one thing: Freddie Freeman is not. But I'll tell you this too: over the past 10 games, he's raking. Like he's on. We're seeing him kind of out of that slump. But they have a pivotal road ahead. But a guy, Ralph, that has started off ice cold. And then about since the 2nd or 3rd week has been one of the better hitters, not only on the Braves, but really in the National League, is Austin Riley. Yes. Austin Riley's emergence. This is the Riley that we thought we were getting when he first came up. Obviously, pitchers are going to make adjustments. But this is the first time, Ralph, it hasn't just been like a span of 2 games. I mean, weeks on weeks on weeks. He's top 5 in on-base percentage in baseball right now. He's getting on base. He's got 5 home runs. But what he's doing to me, Ralph, and he's done it a couple times, he's hitting the ball opposite field with authority. So I ask you this, is Austin Riley here to stay? Is this the Riley we're going to see over the remainder and be a key contributor in this lineup?
Well, guess what, guys? You get to see Austin Riley play a full season, and now you get to see what he can actually do. He's not playing – I want to let you know, he hasn't even played 162 games in his career yet. He's only played, I think, 130. I'm looking at this correctly. Well, I mean, if you average the games he's played now, yes, he's played 162. But the last 2 seasons combined, he hasn't played 162 games. So he's now got a full season in him, technically. And he's gonna learn, how pitchers pitch to him. He's gonna learn, okay, they're gonna throw sliders outside to me. I can't swing at those anymore. I got to be, smarter at the plate. And I think the whole entire Braves roster is smarter at the plate. For one, they're not swinging at stupid pitches anymore. I think the past few weeks has been, longer at bats. The pitch counts for opposing pitchers are getting higher. And I think I saw it this past weekend in Milwaukee. You face two pretty good pitchers from Milwaukee. Obviously, you face their two aces, but you're facing guys who are still pitching extremely well, especially Peralta on Sunday, who had him pretty much down and out toward the end of the game until the Braves storm back. Austin Riley right now, he's hitting better than I think we expected him to this year. Obviously, people say, he started out cold. Maybe we should bench him for Camargo. We also did the same thing last year. And the year before that, when he came in the league, I mean, it's a young kid who's still learning his way around this league. I think he's developed himself into a solid third baseman. He's got a great glove in the corner, and he can hit the ball. He can flat out hit the ball. When he's on it, he's on it. And I think right now he is on it, and I think he is here to stay.
Well, and two, Ralph, he's 23. I mean, this is the thing. He's 23 years old. He's doing a fantastic job right now.
You and I are 23, and guess what we're not doing? Playing professional baseball.
Exactly. And I think that's what people have to realize, too. Like I said, these guys are not robots. And so I think that's just a big thing with it is that these guys are going to have to mature. They've got to learn. And this is the thing. When you are like the Braves are, where I feel like the baseball gods, per se, tapped him on the shoulder a year or two early and said, hey, you're going to contend now. Yeah. These guys are going to have to go through the bumps and bruises. Now, there's a difference between letting a guy like Austin Riley go back to like February. The conversation was, should the Braves sign Justin Turner? Okay. In all honesty, we've talked about this. I believe Austin Riley can be what Justin Turner is. But you're never going to know unless you let him play through those bumps and bruises. And in today's society of I want all this gratification right now, and if I don't have it right now, the patience is not there. Braves are not a team that's going to have a $250 to $300 million payroll each year. It's just not going to happen. So I think Austin Riley's emergence has been a big positive. And Ralph, I'll tell you this too, and Chipper Jones said the same thing. His defense has been immaculate this season. I mean, the guy has, to me, gold glove potential over there, and he's been very, very good. And that brings us into this last topic here, Ralph, before we kind of get to our final thoughts. Still not time to panic. I mean, you still don't need to panic. And so let's kind of run through this because this is something that is all over Twitter, the negativity surrounding this team. They get down by 2 runs, and people say, well, I'm going to turn the TV off. Okay, yes, they're not scoring runs like they were, but this offense is way too good to not be doing it. Ronald Acuna, and I'll say this too, Ralph, we've talked about this. They're 20-23. They're 3 games out of first place, and they still have not played to what I even believe is that they're like B level of baseball. Yeah. They're playing about C level of what their potential is.
Agreed.
If you can hang around until these guys figure out, which no one's shown any indication of pulling away in this division, and I'm going to tell you this too, Ralph, I don't think anybody does. I think all of these teams are just about on an even playing field. Maybe you see the Nationals slip a little bit because I don't think their lineup is necessarily good as, and maybe the Marlins don't have enough to get them there. But between the Phillies, the Mets, and the Braves, I mean, these teams are going to be beating up on each other all summer long. And so for me, it's still not time to panic.
No, and I don't think I think we've said it multiple times now. It will be panic time until middle or end of June when it's your 5 or 6 games out. That's when you're like, okay, something's got to change. You need to bring someone in before the deadline, and if they're sitting there, 2 games out at deadline or at All-Star game, I still don't think it's panic time. You're 2 games out. You got 2 more months of baseball, 2 or 3 months of baseball left almost. You got plenty of time, and I still think all these I'm gonna say it, social media fans. You're a fan probably when Acuna made it to the league. You didn't really know much about baseball. You weren't there for the bad times. The Brooks Conrad days. We talked about it earlier.
11 years ago today.
11 years ago today, you went the walk-off grand slam, the greatest hit in Braves history. Prove me wrong. Don't actually prove me wrong because you probably can. It's never time to panic this early. I'm not worried. I mean, I tell all my friends are like, dude, the Braves just look terrible. Everything's going wrong. Fire Snick. I'm like, why fire Snicker? What did he do wrong to you? I'm sorry that we don't have the Braves can't sign the 5 best relievers in baseball. I'm sorry they can't. Kirby Yates, Kenley Jansen, Aroldis Chapman. Let's go all throw them in the bullpen. We had the money for that. Atlanta is not going to sit there and roll over these teams, beat a ball all year. They're going to fight back. They're going to come back storming on somebody, and you're going to be like, wow, I'm sorry for talking bad about them, you know. And
we did a poll, Ralph. We're talking about Snicker, going back to what you were saying, and I put it on Twitter on my personal profile. So this will be interesting. How does Braves Twitter feel about Snicker? The two options were fire him, keep him, because it seems like you're either in one or the other category. And keep him was 72%, and fire him was 28%. And so for that tells me that 28% of fans on Twitter are don't have common sense, because they really do believe that. I'm not gonna say it. I don't want to say it, but I will say this is stupid. This is the part that's dumb to me. Is perfect example was last night, okay? Charlie Morton is taken out of the game. Why? Because the Braves had the bases loaded. They were going for the big inning, okay? If it pays off, which, remind you, if it pays off and Pablo Sandoval hit a rocket that was caught out of the air by the Mets third baseman, which was Jonathan Villar last night.
Yeah.
That would have got on the line. Everyone's like, Snicker, what a great decision. It doesn't, because of a game of inches. And then what happens? They put Minter in the seventh inning, okay? He gets the first two outs. He's looking nasty. You know why, Ralph? Because he has rest. But you can't throw a guy out there through the first 40 games 25 times and expect him to do well. That's just – they're not built like that.
It's not MLB The Show. They don't regen health every game and every inning. It's just –
Exactly. So then you go back with it. Okay, he has the throwing error. Well, let's go back to that throwing error. And I don't know if you saw this, Ralph. I'm not sure. So there's a little weak chopper, okay, with two outs. And so what happens is Minter coming in towards the plate, or Williams Contreras coming out. By rule, people who understand the game of baseball, the catcher takes that ball 10 out of 10 times because he has the better throwing lane. Because what does the pitcher have to do? Turn and throw.
Especially with lefty.
Exactly.
Lefty. Yeah.
So what happens? Minter takes it. Contreras backs off, which we talked about. Contreras has the best offensive potential to us out of all of the potential catchers for the Braves. Defense, still, they're going to live with that because he's going to learn. They got the great guys there to mentor him. Minter throws it down the first base line. Okay, so that happens. How is that Brian Snicker's fault? Like if Minter gets out of the inning, Ralph, then no one's talking about this.
Yeah, but
that's
my
problem.
To teach him better to do better.
Apparently,
you know. So I think Minter needs to go after this game, after last night's game. He's a little ground ball drills with Ron Washington for about 30 minutes, like everyone else does, like the ball boy did the other night.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's just going to happen. No one's perfect. I promise you right now. Look at the AL West standings right now, the National League West standings right now. Tell me who's in first place. Is it the Dodgers?
San Francisco Giants.
Is it the Padres? No, it's the Giants. Okay? So guess what, guys? Baseball's not perfect. No one's out there. The Braves are not going to go, where are we at right now? 43 games right now? Not going to be 43, No one's that good. I can tell you right now, no one's that good.
And two, Ralph, in a year, and I don't know how much you've seen this, but it seems the past couple of years that the baseballs have been a little bit juiced. They took those away. And kind of offensive numbers across the whole league are down. So I think that's something to look at. But my problem is with the Braves fans on Twitter and Facebook that just want Snicker fired because a relief pitcher does bad. And I'm going to tell you this right now, and we've been in a weird boat about this. Our other co-host, Will, is very prominent. He's got the T-shirt to prove it. But Luke Jackson has been fantastic, whether you like it or not. Like, and I know in years past he's struggled. He's had his struggles. He's a peculiar pitcher. But like we've seen, Ralph, he's got great stuff. And when he's on, he's filthy.
He's on.
He's on. So the bullpen's going to get sorted out. They're going to have some struggles. But I continue to say this. What is Brian Snicker supposed to do? What is he just supposed – he's supposed to go out there and pitch? Is Ron Washington supposed to take the mound? Because no one else is – what, do you want to sign Charlie Culberson and let him come back and pitch? He pitched a couple times in mop-up duty.
Yeah. Let me say something real quick about Luke Jackson. For all people who hated Luke Jackson for years, okay? I've had my fair share of moments where I think he could have played this better. That pitch could have been thrown a little bit better, okay? I'll admit it. I'm okay. I'm not afraid to admit that. 19 games pitched this year, okay? 16 2/3 innings, 12 hits, 3 runs, 2 were home runs, and 8 walks, 16 strikeouts. That folks is a 1.62 ERA.
Yeah, but see, the problem is, Ralph. Well, we don't care about ERA. We don't care about the ERA, Ralph. And that's what people say, and that's what they say, and that's how mad they get. And I just don't understand the phenomena. But this is the base level of it. And I'll say this, and this is the last thing we'll say about it. you don't understand the game of baseball. If you think that Brian Snitker's fault that AJ Minter gives up a run, I mean, who else is he going to throw out there, Ralph? You can only play with the hand you're dealt. And until a different reliever, until a different reliever comes in, and this whole thing about, well, we should have Mark Melancon. Well, guess what? You don't. And Mark Melancon's not walking through those bullpen doors at any time, at least in the Atlanta Braves uniform.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. It's just ridiculous.
I'm going to say one more thing before you into this right here.
Go ahead.
You want to – if you think –
I got to get out of here, Ralph. I've got to get out of the crowded booth. I'm getting mad. Go ahead.
I'm going to have a little rant real quick for you. If you think you can manage the Braves better, go ahead and do it for me. Go ahead and drive yourself to Atlanta. I want to walk through those doors, tell them yourself, hey, I can do better than Brian Snitker. Put me on that bench right now, and I'll do better. And you go out there and you throw – I'm going to put Acuna, Freeman, and you're going to set your lineup perfectly the way you want to. You're going to put Acuna at 4, okay? You have Ozzie leading off. Okay, you have Freddie hitting 3rd. Okay, that's cool and all. The lineup starts, a few hits here and there. Okay, it's just kind of slow. Okay, well, I need to change the lineup a little bit next time. Okay, you change the lineup again. Well, why didn't you do that in the first place? They start asking the questions that you were asking them. Okay, Brian Snitker is going to do what he wants to do because it's his team. He's given the keys to the team, and Thompson sat there and goes, "I'm going to hand him the keys. This is your team. You manage it the way you do. I will give you players to deal with. You deal with them." And that's what he does best. And that's why he's won 3 straight National League East championships. That's why he was in the NLCS last year. Took the Dodgers to Game 7 with a broken roster. And that's why he'll continue to do great things in Atlanta. So stop hiding Brian Snitker because you don't agree with it. Guess what, people? No one's perfect. No one's going to do what you want them to do. Welcome to life. I'm done.
Well, that's our Instagram moment. He is gone, and we are headed out. Listen, we appreciate everyone watching, appreciate everyone listening, and if you would still like to tune in the show next time, we would appreciate to have you on. Make sure to give us a like, follow, and share as well. As we get into the summer months, we enjoy talking more sports with you. For Ralph Leary, I'm Bryce Coon saying so long from the crowded booth.